LifeWave. Today, this global force for good spans 100 countries with hundreds of thousands of delighted fans. With offices in the U.S., Ireland, and Taiwan, LifeWave has over 30,000 square feet of manufacturing space and supports customers in over 20 languages. With a solid commitment to research and continued exposure in the news media worldwide, the LifeWave brand is a recognized force in the health and wellness movement. World-class athletes in every sport use and endorse LifeWave technology as a means of achieving peak performance without the use of drugs or stimulants. Health advocates like Suzanne Summers and everyday people from all walks of life have found LifeWave vital to enjoying improved energy, better sleep, reduced pain, and more youthful vibrancy. Where did it all begin?
I remember when I was 8 years old, my parents took me down to the workshop of Thomas Edison. So when I got home that afternoon, I told my father that I wanted to be an inventor when I grew up. And my dad said to me, well, you know, there's no such job. You can't be an inventor. And I said, well, why not? He said, well, you just can't. And, you know, that's a joke that we have between the two of us that we still laugh about to this day.
LifeWave founder and CEO David Schmidt began his career in medical device design and manufacturing. In 1996, he moved to Atlanta, where he returned to his passion for inventing by joining an inventors club, winning numerous awards, and eventually forming a company based on one of his inventions.
One day I was giving a presentation for a government contractor, and they invited me to be part of a design team for one of the Navy's next generation mini subs. So we were trying to find a way to keep people alive longer, and I thought, well, I personally object to this whole idea of using caffeine and stimulants to stay awake, so maybe there's a new way that we could approach this. So I worked on this for several years and developed the LifeWave prototypes. The problem was that we had just gone through 9/11, and the U.S. military was interested in weapons, not survival equipment. And it normally takes over 7 years to get a new product through the Navy. So I decided, well, I know that consumers are really going to love a technology that improves energy without having to use stimulants. So that's why I decided to go to the public with it.
And with those patch prototypes, David found his calling, and by summer of 2002, he launched the LifeWave company.
That first year of LifeWave was pretty rough. I remember I didn't get a lot of sleep. A very typical day for me was getting up at 6 in the morning, going about my day, doing work, phoning acupuncturists, medical doctors, athletes, personal trainers, working all day doing that, and then getting up late at night to make patches because we didn't have a patch manufacturing facility. And along the way, met one person that was interested in investing money, and he said, well, you know, I don't really know much about science or medicine. Could I have a medical doctor review this? And I said, sure. And as it turned out, that was Dr. Steve Haltiwanger.
I spent about 4 hours or longer interviewing him, and then came back a few days later and talked to him again. And so we had about 6 hours worth of conversation over a few days. Every question I asked, he answered, and I asked him very detailed scientific questions. So I realized this man actually knew what he was talking about. So I was very impressed, and I wrote a paper that was my way of explaining to the technology from more of a biological point of view. And I sent this paper to a number of friends that were in medicine to get a review. And one of them was Dr. Carl Merritt out in California, and he shared it with Coach Richard Quick at Stanford. He was a coach of the Stanford women's swim team.
So one day, sitting in my home office in Atlanta, Georgia, and I get a call, and the voice at the other end of the phone says, David, this is Richard Quick. And then he tells me that he's been using the LifeWave patches in conjunction with Dr. Merritt, and he found that during the first 3 weeks of using the patches with his athletes, that 6 out of the 8 swimmers broke their personal lifetime best in their event. So this was absolutely huge. This was one of the breaks that I had been looking for.
That which seems extraordinary today will be commonplace in the future. If something can be done in 20 or 30 years in the future, why can't we do it today? That's what David Schmidt has done with LifeWave.
We got an opportunity to have our product on Olympic athletes. We got to have world exposure of the technology by having the athletes compete in the Olympic Games and in the Olympic trials. And I am very grateful to Coach Quick for that opportunity.
At the Olympic trials in 2004, a scandal erupted. The Stanford swimmers were doing so well that some of the other coaches accused them of using performance-enhancing drugs in the patches.
I met before the U.S. Olympic Committee and had to explain how the patches worked. They took the patches down to UCLA Microanalytical Lab, had the patches examined, and found out there weren't any drugs in them. The athletes drug tested negative, so they were completely clean. And we started to make national headlines because people wanted to know what were these patches and why were the Stanford women's swim team using them and doing so well with them.
This is a product that will really help people. It'll help people have more energy. It'll help them focus better so they can be more successful in whatever their endeavors are.
I had looked into many ways of marketing the patches, including infomercial marketing, doing it at retail, and ultimately I settled on network marketing for a lot of really great reasons. Our first month in business as a network marketing company was November of 2004, and if you can imagine the circumstances, we started off with 1,000 distributors and $500,000 in sales that very first month. It was a remarkable achievement, and we went up from there.
This immediate growth prompted the need for a skilled LifeWave management team.
So I thought, if we really want to become a successful company, we need someone with experience. We need someone that's been in this position before. And my prayers were answered in November of 2005 when Mike Collins came on board.
Enter Mike Collins, formerly of Procter & Gamble and Vice President of PepsiCo.
Well, I was introduced to David Schmidt and LifeWave by a mutual friend who happened to be a LifeWave distributor, and he gave me some energy enhancer patches to try. I had a great response to it, something I had never felt before, a clarity of mind and sense of well-being. So when David and I got together and talked it over, I said to him, David, please, I don't care what position you have in mind, put me in the batter's box and let me start swinging, because this is just fantastic.
As the core business grew throughout the U.S. and Canada, the wisdom of particular founding sales leaders proved pivotal.
So I went back to a lot of these people that I had met along the way. George Hoagland, David Jumper, John Chance, Chuck Michael, and we started to form a United States advisory board, a North American advisory board. And these leaders just did a tremendous job in that first year supporting growth, and I really owe them a lot for that.
At the end of 2005, LifeWave hit $17 million in sales and held a national conference featuring 40 speakers. Professional and Olympic athletes talked about using LifeWave patches to become the best in the world. Other presenters included medical doctors, acupuncturists, naturopaths, scientists, even world-famous biophysicist Beverly Rubik, also known as the mother of energy medicine.
I'm a biophysicist. I've traveled the world looking for maverick wellness products that make a difference in people's lives. And it came to my attention that there was this LifeWave energy patch. The first thing I wanted to do as a biophysicist was to test them on the human energy field. And that is the state of the art now in biophysics, that this field is considered to be the bottom line regulator of our processes. Here's an example of the data. The red indicates points that were tested that are really unbalanced. The yellow are points that are tolerable within normal but not quite normal, and the green, of course, are the most normal. Some 5 meridians are grossly unbalanced. And after wearing the LifeWave patches, only 1 point is unbalanced. That's an impressive result, especially after immediately placing on the patches.
There was an immediate autonomic nervous system response within 5 minutes. This is what happens when we apply the patches. As you see, there's a pretty hot looking back to the left, and there's a patch distinctly sitting right in the middle of that spine. It has a cooling effect on the autonomic nervous system.
Statistically speaking, there we can prove that energy production is enhanced fairly dramatically by these patches. I've been doing this kind of testing now for almost 8 years, and I can tell you, you don't see these kind of results.
We tested the LifeWave product and we found that it made a significant change within 10 seconds in the cytoskeleton. And let me tell you, that is profound.
There are a lot of products out there, folks, but there are very few companies who support their products with quality science.
Having clinical studies is a matter of ethics. You have to know what effects your products are going to have on people before they actually use them. And it's a legal requirement. The government wants to see clinical studies, scientific proof that substantiate your claims.
We look for independent researchers. We look for universities that can study our technology. We're driven to prove the benefits of this technology, as well as to show how this technology can be used to help the health of people around the world.
Through the power of networking, David was introduced to world-famous actress, best-selling author, and renowned health advocate Suzanne Somers. She had such an extraordinary response to the technology that she immediately met with David to learn more.
That first meeting was just absolutely extraordinary, and I would say the one thing that really impressed me about Suzanne was her level of scientific knowledge. I got questions from her that I don't get from some medical doctors.
In 2006, the word about LifeWave continued to spread.
When you're in a company where the sales are growing that rapidly, what you find is that the systems that you had built aren't going to be adequate because you're growing faster than you had planned to grow. That was the challenge, so we had to respond to that and build the structure for the future.
By 2008, Mike Collins and his team translated the website and marketing materials into several languages. Some key distribution leaders in France offered the company additional direction and commitment, and sales began to boom throughout Europe.
In the United States, we had great success with our advisory board from the very beginning of the company. When we found ourselves beginning in places like France and Italy, we knew that we were going to have to put together advisory boards of leaders.
Our business in France really started to take off, and a few months after that, I was invited over to Paris to meet with a number of our leaders over there that had been very successful at marketing our products. And what followed was a 2 or 3 hour meeting that really didn't go all that well. They didn't know what to think of me. I didn't know what to think of them. But I listened. I listened to what they were saying and what it was that they needed to be successful. The company started to implement their recommendations, and the market began to grow. You know, today, I would just tell you, I have a debt of gratitude to every one of these leaders in Europe. They're wonderful human beings.
The success of the French advisory board was quickly followed with advisory boards in other countries as well. Back in the U.S., Suzanne Somers interviewed David in her New York Times bestseller, Breakthrough. Suddenly, people were contacting Suzanne about the patches and contacting LifeWave because of Suzanne. That year, Inc. magazine named LifeWave one of the fastest-growing U.S. companies via the Inc. 5000 list, and by the next year, LifeWave was ranked even higher. All this time, sales were escalating in Europe, prompting a major investment in a new facility in Ireland.
And that gave us a number of advantages. First of all, we're close to our market. We put in high-speed manufacturing equipment that will be able to keep up with the production needs for years to come. We opened up a customer service call center that handles many languages and a fulfillment center that can get product there within a day or two to any customer in the EU. And all the way on the other side of the world, of course, sales were growing too. So there, we decided to open up a company-owned office in Taipei, Taiwan. The office there is a fulfillment center and a customer service call center that handles all the Chinese language business that we have in that part of the world.
In November of 2009, LifeWave and Suzanne Somers held a Caribbean cruise, bringing distributors and speakers together from around the world and celebrating the 5-year anniversary of the company with a flourish. Later the same year, Suzanne also invited David and LifeWave to be featured in her next book, Knockout.
For the last 10 years, I have been involved and passionate about health. That really is all there is. And when I met David Schmidt of LifeWave 5 years ago, there was such a connection from the very first time because our messages are synergistic. This is an extraordinary new technology that everybody needs to know about.
We formed this tremendous friendship with Suzanne and her husband, and they are just remarkable people. They are on the same mission that we are, which is to improve quality of life. And I know that the world is a better place because of LifeWave and because of Suzanne. So a partnership made all the sense in the world.
There is just not a finer representative or ambassador for a company like ours than Suzanne Summers, and she lives up to it every day.
In 2010, LifeWave moved to bigger offices in San Diego. More languages were added to the website. The customer service staff was expanded, and the commitment to scientific research was increased, including the creation of LifeWave's own clinical space for research. In November, LifeWave members gathered again and celebrated with a Mediterranean cruise, creating a fabulous event that spawned even more company enthusiasm and growth. The question simply became, what's next?
We were at a party that Suzanne Summers was holding. We had just been in her book Knockout, and we were meeting with scientists from around the world. These are brilliant medical doctors that are on the cutting edge of anti-aging medicine. And we heard them talk about this recurring theme of stress and how stress is having an adverse effect on the body. And I remember going home that night and I read Knockout from front to back, and I called Suzanne the following day and I said, you know what, I can design a patch for reducing stress.
14 months later, after extensive research, clinical trials, and focus groups, LifeWave's Eon was unveiled at a worldwide product launch on January 8, 2011. The careful preparation made this the most successful product launch ever for the company. The worldwide webcast had an audience of over 6,000.
And since that time, what's happened is that, number one, the momentum of the company has been unalterably changed. We have grown more rapidly, and it's because of Eon. Number two, Eon has become the leading selling product that we have. And number three, the way we measure success is that we've helped all that many more people on a personal level than we would have had we not had Eon.
What was so personally rewarding for me was to see the tremendous benefits that people were getting from this product like no other product before it.
We're finding new ways every day to get to people, to get more of our products into more people's hands and to share with them the great news about what they do. It's nothing but great things to come for LifeWave.
On the business side, we're going to continue our global expansion into new markets. And this is going to give our distributors more and more opportunities. But more importantly, this is about making a statement in the world that we can live in a world without suffering. We're on a mission to improve quality of life, whether or not it be to help those that are suffering in pain or to help people that just simply need more energy or new solutions in anti-aging. We're here to help. So come join LifeWave and make a difference in the world today.
LifeWave. Live long, live well.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light to stimulate the body's natural healing systems, providing specific health benefits. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and the ability to heal itself. Let's take a look at why this is important on a cellular level. For example, a number of our patch products help counteract free radicals, oxygen molecules that damage cell proteins and contribute to visible signs of aging. When the body is stimulated through phototherapy to release its own antioxidants, these free radicals are neutralized naturally. LifeWave phototherapy patches promote an environment that enables the body to optimize its restorative powers and provide specific health benefits, all without the use of harmful drugs or chemicals, all helping you to stay healthy and young. To find out more, contact your distributor or visit lifewave.com. LifeWave. Live long. Live well.
Hi, I'm Mike Collins. As a company, our most valuable asset are our talented and visionary leaders who share our products with the world. So when we considered how best to compensate you, we thought we needed to create a compensation plan that is as innovative and powerful as the products themselves. And we did that. We created a compensation plan for you that is very fair and very powerful, and it pays you in 4 different ways. We even created a brand new term in the industry, and we're calling it compound marketing. Because with LifeWave, just like with compound interest, the work that you did before continues to compound and add up and be stored almost like in a bank. One of the things that I like the best about our compound marketing system is that you only have to build 2 teams. Many companies require that you build 5 or even 10 teams. But we want you to be able to focus on and build in depth. So we did something unique. We give you points for all volume generated, no matter how deep in the organization, no matter who sold it. Now, before we get started, let's just cover a few simple terms. The first is BV, or business volume. And these are the points that are associated with each commissionable product sold. Now, the next term is active status. In order to be considered active, you must have 55 BV points per month. Now, these points may be generated by your personal orders or by retail sales that you've made. Most people guarantee that they will always be on active status by signing up for AutoShip. Now, AutoShip simply means this, that each month a qualifying order will be shipped direct to you right at your door. And AutoShip is very important, and I'll explain why a little bit later. The best way to think about your team building is to imagine 2 banks, one below each team, and all the sales that occur in each of those 2 teams, regardless of depth, fall into those 2 banks until you have accumulated a total of 990 points. And the 990 points have a balance of 330 on one side and 660 on the other. When this occurs, a cycle happens, and you get paid. And any excess volume that wasn't used in that cycle is retained for the next one. Now, the best part is that as long as you are on AutoShip, that volume never disappears. It just keeps building and building, waiting for the next cycle to occur. So this ensures that you will never experience that gotcha, that feeling that you missed something and you'll never get it back. Like some companies that make you jump through all kinds of hoops in order to achieve a certain volume level by the end of the month. In LifeWave, that volume just keeps building. Just remember, stay on AutoShip. As long as you're on AutoShip, you'll earn BV on every sale that occurs in both of your teams, no matter whether you sponsored that person or not. If you sponsor a bronze, you can earn 55 points, and so does everyone above them. If you sponsor a silver, it's 165 points. And if you sponsor a gold, it's 275 points. Now, you need to have 330 points in your lesser leg, also called your profit leg, in order to cycle. So let's just imagine that your power leg, your right leg, really takes off, and you find yourself with 100,000 points in that power leg. Well, now, every time that 330 points is generated in your profit leg, you cycle. The computer will subtract 660 points from your right bank and 330 points from your left bank, And then just wait until it all happens all over again, over and over. And because you're earning cycle pay on your entire organization, no matter how deep it goes, you could be cycling multiple times every single day. And in fact, you can earn up to $25,000 a week just in cycle pay. Often, one team will grow faster than the other, but that's a good thing. As long as there is twice as much volume in the power leg, every time that the profit leg generates 330 points, you cycle. So do the math. Every time you cycle, you earn $50. So if you earn $50 every time your profit team generates 330 points, that means that you're earning 15% of all the volume in your profit team to unlimited depth. That's right, to unlimited depth. Let me explain why this is so important. Most companies will pay out through 5 generations or perhaps 7 generations. And a really successful distributor in one of those companies may have $1 million in volume in his organization, but only be paid on 200 or 300,000 of it because that's where the 5 generations or 7 generations stops. With LifeWave, you get paid on all of the volume generated through both of your teams to unlimited depth. You see, you might sponsor someone who sponsors someone who sponsors someone, and then 20 sponsors later, there's a superstar that shows up. And you get paid on all that volume just like that person was first level to you. And that's why we call it compound marketing. It just keeps building and building. It gets calculated daily and gets paid weekly. Now, one of the most exciting parts of our plan is the carryover volume. Let's take an example. Let's say you have 1,000 points in your left team and 300 points in your right team. Now a sale occurs and another 100 points gets added to the right team. Well, because now you have greater than 660 points on your left team and 330 points on your right team, you've cycled. The 660 points is deducted from your left side and the 330 points deducted from your right side, leaving you a carryover volume of 340 points on your left side and 70 points on your right. And that carryover volume waits in the bank until you're ready to use it. It's very easy to be qualified for your team building bonus. And here's all you need to do. Number one, you must be active. You must be on active status. Number two, you need to have one personally sponsored active distributor on your left team and one personally sponsored active distributor on your right. It's that simple. Now remember, the simplest way to assure that you are always qualified is to make sure that you're on auto ship and make sure that your active distributors are also on auto ship. Now the fourth way that we pay you is through the matching bonus, and this is really powerful. With anyone that you personally sponsor, you can earn up to 25% of their team building bonus. For example, if they earn $1,000 a week, you'll be paid an additional $250 because of the first level matching bonus. Here's how it works. Now, in order to qualify for this bonus, you simply need to be an active gold distributor with 110 personal points for the month. Now, again, the easiest way to make sure that you qualify is to be on auto ship. That way, there will be no doubt. Next, simply sponsor one active silver or gold distributor on your left and one active silver or gold distributor on your right. That's it. It's that simple. One of the beautiful things about our compound marketing system is that you could personally sponsor somebody, but they might be dozens or even hundreds of levels beneath you. Well, that helps everybody above them, and they still count as your first level for the matching bonuses. Now, let's say that this is your organization. The red circles, well, those are the people that you personally sponsored. Those are your first level. The yellows are the people that they sponsored, or your second level. The blue circles, that's your third level. With team building, they're spread all through your organization, because remember, you can personally sponsor someone and they may be many, many levels beneath you. But everybody benefits and you still get the credit for sponsoring them. But for matching bonuses, your organization would look like this. All the people that you personally sponsored would be moved to your front level so that you get all the credit. You have the strength of unlimited depth and personal leverage all in one plan. Compound marketing. In summary, LifeWave has one of the most member-friendly plans in the industry. With compound marketing, you can develop at your own pace without losing out on any points. And the beautiful part is that you only have to build 2 teams. We pay you on your entire organization, regardless of depth, with no blocking. Our 25%, 20%, and 20% matching check bonus rewards our leaders and helps everyone as leaders to continue to build in depth. People are passionate about LifeWave because of the great results that they get from our products. But you are the reason that LifeWave is enjoying such great success, and we want to make sure that you are well paid. Please get back to the person who shared this information with you, and let's get started today.